Joey Sacavitch, welcome to the Forward One podcast.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we are doing something very cool, and that is we're doing essentially what was a business planning clinic. I used to teach it nationwide. It was a full day and a half. Joey has it knocked down to a half a day. That's 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours,
Yep.
okay? And we're going to handle this in 3 episodes, and we're going to make sure that every single one of these episodes is well under an hour. The first one is going to be the economic model. And so, Joey, let's dive in.
Knowing your numbers, knowing your goal, and the mechanics of your goal is the most important starting point for this journey, right? Knowing how many units at what price I need to sell to achieve this financial goal is key to moving the conversation forward.
Let's go.
All right.
Let me be direct. If you do not have a business plan for 2026, you are planning to fail.
Absolutely. You know, I think what they say is a goal without a plan is a dream.
Yes. Let's get away from that dreaming.
Let's go.
I did a bunch of research, and according to several large studies, people were achieving their goals. I'm tempted to ask you to guess. At what percentage of people that set goals without a plan?
Without a plan.
Set the goals, but they don't have a plan. What percentage achieve them by the year end?
I say it's barely over double digits, maybe in the 15% range.
4.5%.
Ooh, single digit. Ouch.
When someone has a written plan, they are doing 50% better just by taking that idea and putting that idea into writing. That's a 50% increase. They are getting a 75 to 80% increase by taking that plan that they've created and breaking it down into activities,
Actionable items. Yeah.
that they're looking at once a week.
So are you saying that 50% of people do better just going through this exercise and not looking at it again?
That's correct.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's massive. In other words, first of all, I don't have the stats on people that just have no goal at all because there's nothing to measure that against.
Yeah.
So like, oh, well, I have no goal for 2026. How do I know if we're going to hit the goal? There is no goal. Now, for the people, and you're already down the funnel.
Yep.
And so you're like, oh, actually, I have a goal. And here's my goal. Let me tell you what my goal is. Now, less than 5% will achieve that goal.
Wow.
When you move to putting that goal into writing, which we're going to do right now, then there's more than a 50% increase in that. And then compounded on top of that, if you take it down to that goal, which you put into writing, and then you create it as actionable items in a weekly format that you're checking on, then you get another 75% lift.
Absolutely, because you're waking up every day and you know what the activities. You're focused on the activities. You're not focused on the result. You're focused on the activities. The goal is the result of the activities.
One of the things I read, Jack Canfield, I was one of my favorite early on books was Success Principles.
Sure.
And what Success Principles did was it took 5 or 6 of his really good self-help books and it stuffed it all into one and organized it. And that's why I liked it so much. And one of the things that Jack Canfield started out as a teacher, public school teacher, private school teacher. I can't remember. It didn't pay a lot. And he took this, massive goal. He had a goal and he wrote it down. Okay. He did not put it into daily actionable steps, but you know what he did? He took that goal, as weird as it sounds, and he posted it above his bed. So when he went to lay down at night, there it is. When he wakes up,
last thing at night,
there it is. And that alone propelled him.
It was present in his daily life. That objective was present. And I think it's very, very important that once you set a goal that you have it in your life, you revisit it right? Directly or indirectly, as he has.
I had created a really terrific 3-year goal for myself. I was very detail oriented about it. Let me give myself 95 out of 100 on doing that. And it was, all the way back in the day where one of my mentors, long retired now, Mo Anderson, told me to do it. And I was very detailed about it. She asked me to share it with her. That's why it got so detailed, because I had accountability.
Sharing is another piece.
I took that goal, that set of goals, I put it in a drawer. I never looked at it. Weirdly enough, roughly about 3 years later, I was going through, stacks of paper that I sometimes leave unfiled. I found that goal and I had exceeded that goal. And I do believe that took me out of the 4.5%. It took me to the 50% bump. It did not take me into the extra 75, but just like Jack Canfield, it was enough. I'll take it back a step down from Jack Canfield. If I wanted the Jack Canfield program, which he did not do, the best practice is to revisit these goals once a week. And he didn't do that, but he had it posted above his bed. Now, if you want to not post it above your bed, other people, not what I did. So, a step below Jack Canfield is you just take that great plan and you hang it next to your computer, or you sit it on your desk, and trust me, you don't even have to look at it. Like, it just being there. It's
an object that's present in your life.
It's just there. All I would have to do is be like, am I going to screw around? Wait a minute. That goal, I don't even have to read it. I'm like, it's over there.
Screensavers on your phone. There's lots of different ways it could be present in your life. You did something else that also brought it to the next level, which is you shared it. Sharing it with someone that you respect, sharing that with someone that you're invested with, also brings it into the real world. It takes it out of the manifestation of just your head, right?
Let me be honest about that. I did share it. I did share it with a very important person that made a huge impact. And to be honest, I shared it with her because she asked me for it. So
you got there.
I'm not sitting there like I am now. So Mo Anderson is not asking me today, hey, send me your 3-year goal. In fact, no one's asking me today. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to learn from our session today. I'm going to develop that 3-year plan. I'm going to share that 3-year plan with some very important people, including you.
Excellent.
And Josh, my business partners, and my
creates alignment.
And my team.
Yep.
It's good to do that.
Absolutely.
In a few key areas. One of the things that I would tend to do that would kind of mess up the deal is I would probably have, a few categories too many. So now get back to Gary Keller's one thing. I do believe I would benefit by just going one category. I love to do several things, so I'm going to resist that, but I'm not going to put 10 things on there. I'm going to put 3 things. Well,
and there are sectors of your life, right? Your life is modular. In the sense that, you have your personal goals, you have your physical goals, you have spiritual goals, you have financial goals, and different people play different parts of those endeavors, right?
Why do I love doing the podcast with you? Okay, because I hadn't even thought of that. I was thinking financial and business goals. And I was like, I need 3 categories just for that.
Sure.
For me, it would be, brokerage. It would be syndication. It would be media or tech. Those would be my 3, but they're all business related. But now you've thrown in there spiritual, personal, and physical.
Absolutely.
And I do think that that having goals on all of those would be so helpful.
Absolutely. And having a support system and knowing who's a part of you achieving that goal, because we are in a we are in a certain level of business that we're leveraging business and life, where we're leveraging others to help us attain our goals.
I'm going to tell you this. The data is brutal. I've done the research. And if you're not writing your goals down and you're not breaking it down into actionable pieces, you are volunteering to underperform.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. And that starts with goal setting.
So let's freaking go.
Right. And a principle that I really like to have people think about when they're setting goals is unrealistic goals and unreasonable goals. I want them to set an unreasonable goal. I want them to stretch themselves. I want them to be reaching for the last possible moment to that goal, right? And it's called a through goal or a 10x goal. All of that is great in the momentum of achieving your goal, right? So, an unrealistic goal is super easy to discard or to, just kind of, avoid because it wasn't something that you thought you could achieve anyway, somewhere down below. But an unreasonable goal is one that affords you the space to maintain momentum towards your goal to the last possible point on the map.
Distinguish that
if it's a year.
Distinguish that for me again. So you said unreasonable, and then what was the
unrealistic versus unrealistic?
Right, like unreasonable versus unattainable.
Be unreasonable with your goal setting. Don't be unrealistic in your goal setting. A first year in business saying, all right, what's your goal? I want to make $1 million. Well, what are the mechanics of that, right? Do you have the product or the relationships to achieve that goal now, right? Or are you starting from scratch to developing a product and or starting new relationships or looking for those relationships? If you're you're still in that inquiry stage or that research stage or those beginning stages where you don't have the direct access to those opportunities, then maybe that $1 million is your second or third year. Maybe that's a 3-year goal. But if you have those relationships in place or that product in place, then that is let's talk about, how unreasonable that goal is, not unrealistic.
One of the first things we're going to do in this particular goal setting exercise is we're going to start with the economic model, or in business in general, it could be the pro forma. So talk to me about that.
So once we've set our goal, then we have to understand how we have to perform to achieve that goal. How many units, at what cost are we selling to achieve that goal, right? Taking into consideration the cost of sale and any other operating expenses we might have for our business, right? The basic rule is 30, 30, 40, right? 30% cost of sale, 30% operating expenses, 40% net profit.
Okay. So one of the things to bring that into life is we didn't talk about the goal itself. And so when you explain it that way, I know that what you're really talking about is you're talking about a goal of net profit. And
how much do I need to live my life?
Correct. And that is already a tweak in the positive direction, because if I say, hey, I want to sell, $10 million worth of real estate. Okay. Well, what does that mean? What's the commission going to be on that? What are my costs? Really, we're starting with the end in mind. And you say, okay, how much do I want to have? So we're going to get rid of the word need.
Sure.
Okay? How much, what we could say commitment, which is really a firm goal.
Yeah.
Okay. But what exactly is that amount that I'm absolutely committed to? And that is a net profit goal. And when you get that net profit goal, then what you need is a gross income. And then down from your gross income, you're removing your cost of sale.
Yep.
You're removing which you said should be about 30%. You're removing your operating expenses, which should be about 30%. And then that would leave for you a 40% profit.
Yes.
So talk me through that a bit.
Okay. Once we understand the gross we need to achieve, right? $1 million, agent. Then we're trying to figure out what our average commission is. We're talking about real estate in this particular context, trying to figure out what our average commission is, and let's say 2.5% is our average commission here, and then on a average sale of, for the sake of easy conversation, we'll say $1 million. So that's $25,000. If we're trying to achieve a $1 million in gross commission, then we do the math, and that is $25,000 divided into $1 million, which brings us to 40. That means we need to sell 40 units at the average sale price of $1 million to achieve $1 million gross income.
And let me break that out for you a little bit.
Go on.
And also, it is a national podcast, so so I'm gonna change numbers up a little bit, and I'm gonna say this. First of all, I can use your number, which is a net profit of 40%. Okay. And if we use the $1 million, because that math obviously is easier.
Yeah.
So if I'm like, okay, we're working through this, but for the moment, before I work through my own economic model, I'm just going to take Joey's 30-30-40 principle. And I'm going to say, okay, you know what? 2026, I am going to net $400,000. Now I know in order to net $400,000, because that's 40% of $1 million. Now, in order to get that, I'm going to sell $1 million of gross commission.
Yep.
And then at 2.5%, we know that is
$40 million in
$40 million. So if we just sort of half all that, which takes us right into other parts of the world, there you go. Okay. You know what? Really, I'm committed in 2026 to make $200,000. So work with me here. So $200,000, that's 40% of $500,000. So now I need a gross commission income of $500,000.
Exactly.
Now, if my average price point isn't $1 million, but it's $500,000, I think my math is going to serve me by saying I still need 40 units.
Interesting. So
now let me do the math. So here's the math: 40 units at $500,000 per unit is then going to generate 20 million in gross sales. 20 million in gross sales times 2.5%. Times 2.5% commission is going to take me to $500,000 in GCI, and then 40% of that $500,000 GCI is going to give me $200,000 in net commission take home to me. So that's still our 40 units. We're just in a different place.
Just in a different sale price, and this is a national average of 30-30-40. And it's based on lower sale prices than $1 million.
That's correct.
Because the cost of sale goes up because of in markets where it's $300,000 average sale price, because to do 40 transactions, you need more infrastructure. You need buyer's agents. You need showing agents. You need more support that you have to pay for that has a cost to achieve those high numbers. We're in Los Angeles. We live in a bubble where, our average sale price is very high.
I'm going to tell you this. It is a bubble, and the competition is fierce.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we if you think it's easier in LA, I'm going to tell you, maybe not.
No, it's not easy. It's a different muscle, right? You have to really, really be on your activities to compete with relationships that other people have out there.
So do you need a lot of infrastructure to do 3 deals a month? That's not 40. That's going to just take me to 36. But do you need a lot of infrastructure for that?
In real estate, I'd say a good transaction coordinator, a good outsource of marketing, and maybe social media, and you could do that and play golf once a week.
Yeah. So you don't really need, because one of the things I do is, you and I know some A+ transaction coordinators. So I'm not going to hire a transaction coordinator for myself. I'm going to go ahead and use one of the 2 that you introduced me to that are like A+.
Absolutely.
And I pay them per file. If I don't do a deal this month, I pay 0. If I do, 6 deals next month, I'm paying them out of the deals.
Yep. I'm not talking about hiring a transaction coordinator. I'm saying, you leveraging a transaction coordinator, leveraging a marketing person, means outsourcing.
Right. Okay. So guess what? I know what profit is. That's 40%. I know how to do that. You take your gross commission income, you take all of your costs out.
Yeah.
I end up with my profit. What is cost of sale? Because you said cost of sale is 30%.
Yeah. Cost of sale is anything associated with the sale of one particular property. So it's any commissions you pay to the brokerage, any fees associated with that particular transaction. If you're paying a referral fee, or the reason it gets up to 30% is when you get into those markets with the lower price points, where you have to leverage other agents to achieve the volume that you're going for. So it's the sharing of commissions that sucks up most of that, right? If your buyer's agent's doing, 10 of that 20 million, right? He basically has to do double that if you're sharing 50-50, right? For you to receive the benefit. So you getting to $250,000 from a buyer's agent where you are splitting the commission 50-50, you have to do another 20 million in business, right? So that becomes like 30 million instead of 20 million in business. Does that make sense?
Well, I would argue that that on the deals that you don't have a buyer's agent,
right,
that your cost of sale is actually going to be a lot less than 30.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep. And that's why single agents in a market like Los Angeles can do 40 deals. Like my top agents do 40 deals with one assistant and like a little marketing person, right? And so that's 40 million plus in volume. It's $1 million plus in commission, and they pay an assistant who does the transaction coordination anyway, and a little marketing person, and their salaries are less than $200,000, and everything else is raw commission to you.
And one way that I'm going to get really deep into what cost of sale is is tell me about the other 30%. So then we know
the expenses are real. So that's marketing dollars, generalized marketing dollars. That is the cost of an office, the cost of insurance, the cost of your assistant, the cost of your marketing person. It goes on and on. Everything outside the singular deal.
Okay. That helps me. And wait a second. So you've got 30% on cost of sale. Mm-hmm. Is it 30% admin? Is that what you call it?
No, expenses.
Expenses. Okay.
Yeah. Expenses is the big bucket. That's a realer number in any market. Opposed to cost of sale is the one that fluctuates between markets.
Just going to dig into it just a tiny bit because, hate to admit, I've taught the business planning clinic so many times, not as many times as you have. I've gone on the road and taught it nationally. And, I haven't taught it in a while. So I'm like, cost of sale, expenses. Okay. So cost of sale is all of the costs particularly associated with one sale. So, now I've got the split with the brokerage. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of, it's a whole different conversation. We're not going to get into it. There are a lot of very low cost brokers. Keller Williams, for example, has a cap. So you could be on a split. Once you hit that cap, you go to zero. Your blended cost of sale, if you're a big producer, is going to be very low. You can go to other places that cost even less. You can go to other places that cost more. Hopefully they provide a lot more. It's worth it. But your cost of sale is going to be your split with the house essentially. Yep. And I would just say a rough estimate would be about 15%. Do you think 15 or 20?
Yeah.
And then fees associated with that particular sale. Of course we've got a referral fee. If you got a referral on that referral fee could be 25%. It could be 30%.
Yep.
You take a Zillow lead, it could be 40%. Now you're at 55% on your cost of sale, just on your cost of sale. But if it's a naturally occurring sale, you got the split to the house, it's 15%. There's no referral fee. You've got zero on that. What, if anything else, is going to be my cost of sale? Because you said related specifically to that sale, I'm going to use a transaction coordinator. They're not going to be a staff member. Does that go into cost of sale, or is that going to drop down into
I would
my
put
expense?
That in cost of sale. Mm-hmm. It was a cost to complete that particular transaction.
Okay. So if I use an outside TC, that outside TC fee, because it doesn't occur monthly, is going to be cost of sale. If we take the exact same service and I'm doing a big enough business that, I want to go ahead and hire my own admin who's going to be my transaction coordinator, I'm taking the TC fee, I'm dropping it out of the cost of sale, and I'm dropping it into the expenses.
Exactly, because it's an ongoing expense.
Okay. Yep. So now really what I have is my expenses. Then I would say that goes into my P&L.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because because if you have a transaction coordinator in the month of February, and I use an outside transaction coordinator who's magnificent, in the month of February, knock on wood, let's hope it doesn't happen. I don't do a deal in February. That's not on my P&L. I didn't have to pay that.
Exactly.
If I have an office that I'm paying for the office, that's going to go ahead and be in my expense category.
Yep. An assistant and gifts for client marketing lunches, all of that goes under your expenses. What is the cost of acquiring an opportunity and running my business on the daily? Mm-hmm.
And I think the best way for me to understand it is expenses are monthly recurring, whether you do a deal or not.
The reoccurring piece doesn't have to be.
Well, you can stop it.
Sure.
Okay. So now
it could be a one-time thing. You know, you're taking a client out to lunch.
Okay.
That's an expense. You're, you are taking a class, right? Paying for the associations that you belong to, the MLS or the boards. They're all expenses for business. Business expenses.
Good. I'm glad I asked it that way, because that clarifies. So now let me simplify. Instead, I was trying to simplify in the expense category. I'm going to simplify in the cost of sale category. And basically, cost of sale, you've got two sets of expenses, and one is associated with doing the deal. And I know that because if I don't do a deal, none of that shows up.
Right.
But there are expenses that don't have to do specifically with doing a deal. Like, do I decide to go to the seminar or not? Doesn't really have to do with the deal. That's going to be in my expenses.
Education.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm having a great year. I'm having a great year. Maybe I don't have time to spend money on education, or I'm having, a great year. So I'm going to go to the really expensive class.
Here's a more challenging one. I have a listing. The cost to buy water for that listing, is that a business expense, or is that a cost of sale? It's a business expense, I would say, because it's not associated with the transaction. Cost of sale is anything associated with the transaction. The cost of the transaction, not the acquisition of the opportunity.
I mean, we could split hairs, but what would you? I mean, you don't have any hairs, but what would you call marketing for that particular listing?
Expenses.
Wow.
Right.
Because if I don't have that listing, I'm not paying for that marketing. If I don't have that listing, I'm not paying for that water.
But once you get that, the listing's only part of the transaction. It's not the transaction. The transaction is the processing of a contract, right? The sale of a property. The open house, the marketing is trying to achieve the sale, right? The sale is getting into contract with a willing buyer or seller to transfer title, or to set up a lease, or to buy an investment property.
So we've got 30% cost of sale, 30% expenses, 40% profit. Where I see the most efficiency, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there.
Get in there.
Single agents are very efficient. Single agents can run at 40% profit or higher.
Higher.
Yeah, correct. I see big teams when the rainmaker is doing everything other than outsourcing the listing. Okay, so the rainmaker, they're doing nothing other than generating leads, being the visionary, but they will go ahead and go out and take the listing.
Yeah.
That's the sweet spot for real efficiency on a really large team. As soon as that rainmaker starts sending someone else out to take the listing, that's where I watch the profit number dip well below the 40%.
Yeah, it's hard to find you, right? And you taught me this years ago about just constantly top grading your activities, right? What are for the next 2 weeks, make a list of every activity you do, right? And then after 2 weeks, you go red, green, stop, and everything, you choose all the things that only you can do, and then you give away the rest of it, right? And you keep doing that so that, when you get to a place like a giant team, you floated up so high that you're just going on listing appointments. You're right. You're not even necessarily involved in getting the appointment sometimes, right? You're closing the deal, because that is your highest and best use associated with a payday.
And when you're paying for leads, and I'm not going to listen, we have a great friend. We interviewed him on the podcast. I can't tell you how many people would love to have his business. Okay. He does about $300 million worth of business. 100 million of it comes from leads that he's paying for. So when you do his P&L, his cost of sale is through the roof on 1/3 of his business.
Sure.
And yet it keeps his team moving, and, it keeps him in a certain part of the game. And he's going to continue doing that. So I'm not,
and it could be argued that participation on those leads also support him getting the other $200 million worth of opportunities based on his prowess in the marketplace.
Correct. And we have another friend. I'll go ahead and mention his first name. We have another friend, Richard, who does a massive amount of business. And if you talk to him and say, hey, are you going to buy any Zillow leads, or do you want to pay even 20% for this great lead source or whatever? He's like, oh, I have a lead source. It's the phone book, and it's not just the phone book for the whole city. He's got his, it's not like that, diffuse. He's got his, 2 neighborhoods where he crushes it. And he's got I've been doing it for 20 years. I've got all the homeowners' names and phone numbers in this, in these 2 farms. And I'm not buying a lead. I'm going to have my team, either I'm going to call or I'm going to have my team call, not paying for it. Does a big business, 2 different philosophies. I'm not saying either one is wrong.
Yes. And that may have changed.
He's buying leads now.
Okay. In fact, I know for a fact that he is, and it's almost a loss leader for him. Like at the end of the day, he's making maybe 5 to 7% of the commission of those leads that he buys.
And he wants to keep his team busy. Okay, Joey, thank you very much. I appreciate all that wisdom, the back and forth. What we handled today was module 1 of the business planning clinic, and that was the economic model. We learned about what is the cost of sale. We learned about what our expenses and then our net profits, basically 30, 30, 40. And that's what we got today. Very much looking forward to episode 2, which is going to be the lead generation model, because now that we understand the math of it, we got to figure out how we're going to get there.
Attaching to people.
Let's get to the lead generation model. Tune in for the next one.